best night of poetry that we could possibly find and throw together at the last minute. So this evening we present for you somebody young, vivacious, very, very talented. In her first ever Spinning Room feature this evening is Jess Alice. Please give her a round of applause. So let me give you a breakdown of how the evening rolls. Firstly, I'd like to thank anybody who was here last week for my birthday / feature reading. God bless you all. And as a newly blessed 29-year-old, I've decided to mature. So I will be making no off-colour or crass jokes this evening whatsoever.
I give it a week.
Someone start the
time. 5 minutes.
So yes, thank you very much. I had a wonderful time. All of you who bought me shots afterwards, a pox on you and your entire family, because I paid for it for the next 5 days. But this evening we'll run in the usual fashion. We will have our open stage reading to begin with. Those of you who put your names down, thank you very much. This is one of those weeks where we've got lots of people and we didn't want to say no to anyone, so we have more than we usually allow onto the open stage. So I would ask you please to be aware of our 2-minute time limit to sort of 3 minutes if you must, but keeping it close to 2 minutes will keep things pumping along at a fairly good rate, and that's how we like it. And then we'll have a break so that you can buy alcohol and flirt with each other or whatever you do. I don't know. And afterwards come back for our feature reading. At the end of that we will do the raffle. For those of you who haven't yet bought tickets, please do so during the break when you've got a bit of spare coin rattling around. That's how we fund this little shindig. Aside from that, it's all fun and games and jelly wrestling from here on out. So before we get into the open stage, I would ask you all to tune your brains correctly into the field of poetics by asking Jon Garrett to the stage with a round of applause so he can read you some poems. Jon Garrett.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you all for being here. It's always pleasing to see all your lovely, shiny faces. I'm going to read 3, as always, 3 poems to begin. And because, in deference to Jess, we're going to be women, or 2 by 1 woman and 1 by 9, so it's actually 2 women. Elizabeth Smart. 2 short ones. The first one, an arrogant snail. And you've all met one, haven't you? An arrogant snail, for purposes of its own, thought fit to cross the road, the gravelled road, at its own majestic pace. And even if the cars flashed past with a speed and fury far beyond birds of prey, so that he wouldn't even have time to withdraw into his frail shell. Still, because they were so fast and he so slow, he might have been missed in his unwise policy justified. From which you can Beaver. I knew that would happen.
Sorry.
Beaver.
I didn't make a crass joke.
No.
John did.
Did I make a joke?
No.
I just said beaver.
You raised an eyebrow.
Beaver. I liked that tail slapping on the waters of the tangled pond. It didn't seem serious, more like an effete keeping up of forms. A statute of old wisdom, now a bit of a bore, but done perfunctory, just in case. On future days, I will do that on request.
As long as you do the raised eyebrow.
I have carried this book around in my bag for several years.
I've done Beaver on request before.
What I realise now that all one has to do is stand here and say, Beaver. Even you. Even you. Anne Luterbach. As you probably did. Psyche's Dream. If dreams could dream beyond the canon of landscapes already saved from decorum, including mute illicit girls cowering under eaves, where the books are stacked and which they pillage, hoping to find not events but response. If dreams could dream free from the damp crypt and from the bridge where she went to watch the spill and the tree standing on its head, huge and rootless, of which the wasp is a cruel illustration, although its sting is not. The decay now spread into the gardens, their beds tethered to weeds and to all other intrusions. Then the perishing house, lost from view, so she must and you look out to see. Not it, but an image of it, would be nowhere and would not resemble, but would languish on the other side of place where the winged boy touches her ear far from anywhere, but gathered like evening around her waist, so that within each dream is another, remote and a mocking, and a version of his mouth on her mouth. Thank you. I will come back and mention that word again later. I will see you laugh. It is now your turn, the open mic, which will be run by the chap in the beanie. It's not the same, is it? It hasn't been revealed. Anton.
You can clap for me if you like. That was half-hearted at best. I don't care, it's not important if you clap for me. What's important is that you clap for people when I call them up to the stage. The things that I forgot to mention are that I call you in the order that I see fit. Jon has allowed me this small piece of control. So be prepared to be called first, last, or anywhere in between if you have to put your name down. The other thing I forgot to mention is that while Jon and I are over there getting quietly soused, we'll also be watching, and the person who impresses us most, or we think the room would like to hear more of, will be asked back to help us close the evening as our callback with one short piece. So with that in mind, I'd like to kick off the open stage, and you really do need to clap for these people. We are about celebrating the form of poetry. And as punishment for being too long away and not coming here often enough, Michael Kemp is first to the stage this evening. You're going to come up.